Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my channel Lotus Astro. Today, moving on with the series of nakshatras, I would be covering Ardha Nakshatra, which is the sixth nakshatra, and it's part of the Orion constellation. However, before I go ahead, I would like all those who are new to the channel to do subscribe to the channel so that you can be posted with all the videos that I upload. Now, talking about Ardha Nakshatra is the sixth nakshatra, and its symbol is basically a bead or else a teardrop, which actually indicates the semen which is out for fertilization, as in the process of fertilization. The deity for this planet is Rudra. So you will see the fierce form of Shiva present in these natives. Now, what exactly is Rudra? It comes from the word Rudra, which is cry. So, the one who makes you cry. So, a bit of a challenging nakshatra because you see more of the harsh side of Lord Shiva. Now, when you're talking about Ardha, it's the brightest star in the Orion constellations, and the key themes over here in this nakshatra for all those who are either born in this nakshatra, as in the moon or as the sun, their Atma Karaka, or else their ascendant lord in Ardha Nakshatra, would have prominent qualities of this nakshatra, and this nakshatra would be very prominent for all people born in Ardha Nakshatra. Now, when you're talking about the planet related to Ardha Nakshatra, it is Rudra. It is Rahu, and the deity is Rudra. When we're talking about, like what specifically Ardha Nakshatra denotes, it would be, somebody who's very, very good in debates, quite debatable. However, those debates would be to that extent that, he would land up in, he or she would land up into arguments. So for Ardha Nakshatra people, it's always advised to be calm, and the reason being what? Because Rudra, the energy of Rudra is so powerful and so fierce that it's more of a destructive energy until and unless it is channelized well. Now, most of the times when they enter into debates, it changes into arguments, and they'll end up making a lot of enemies because of the kind of emotional pain which they give them. Now, what I've normally seen in Ardha Nakshatra natives, they love nature, they love a very, very, you could say, a large friend circle with a lot of friends. Yes, again, they are protective for their family. So you would see Ardha Nakshatra people are protective for their family, but that's for their own contentment. It's not for somebody else. They are protective for themselves. Okay, so any kind of anyone with a very powerful Ardha Nakshatra would secondly be animal lovers. Now, being animal lovers, always they would have some inclination to very different, very unique animals. Like it could be exotic animals, exotic food, something very different, because here Rahu plays a very, very important role. And when you're talking about Rahu energies, we all know Rahu magnifies everything. So if they love an animal, it would not be something which is a regular pet. It would be something very exotic. It would be something which is different, which is unique. All kinds of destructive works, whether it is demolishing, discarding, throwing of objects, or else, some kind of, construction work which needs demolishing, or else in which, we go ahead and we destruct something, that would be Ardha Nakshatra. So when you're talking about, say, marriages, laying a specific foundation for something. It's not advisable in this specific nakshatra. It's very, very positive for coronations, for building boundary walls, tall structures, and anything which can be auspiciously begin in terms of palaces, or else you know any kind of buildings. So it, yes, it can be gone ahead with in Ardha Nakshatra. Now when we are talking about Rahu, here Rahu becomes a very, very materialistic kind of an energy, where it's a pure businessman energy. So it's like if you give them a task to do, they would do it perfectly in terms of how much money they would be making out of that. So when you're talking about this nakshatra in terms of finances, yes, it is very good to make good finances, because Rahu is something, it will make you that perfect businessman over here. Now, whenever you see moon in Ardha Nakshatra, this person, specific person, might have gone through a difficult and a very challenging childhood. The reason being, what is, say for example, Ardha is ruled by Rahu, and somehow if you have the Rahu coming in the childhood in terms of the Mahadasha, then is when you will see a very difficult phase for this child to go through. Now another thing, Ardha also, they have a very, very keen interest in very different kinds of food, cuisine. They have a very, very unique career, a very different career. Okay, it could be related to astronomy, it could be related to something very mysterious. They have a lot of suppressed emotions, lovers of nature, as I told you, and they would prefer staying not in a very sophisticated and modernized environment. They would like to keep it calm and stay in the quiet, maybe a village, maybe something rural, semi-rural, not that much of a, you could say, urban. So yes, it is a very good nakshatra, and as we all know, this is a time when whenever there's Ardha Nakshatra and the sun moves in Gemini, in the sign of Gemini, then is when the soil goes completely wet, because Mother Earth goes completely wet, because that is a time when we all know that Mother Earth goes through the menstrual phase. And then is when, even if you relate it to the Kamakhya temple, this is a time when the Kamakhya Devi out there, she goes through the same process, and there are people who are, there are devotees coming from all over for the blessings. So that's one phase, that is somewhere around in the month of June, somewhere in mid-June, then is when this happened. So this is a very, you could say, a fierce energy of Rudra, seen in Ardha Nakshatra, and it falls in the sign of Gemini. So now moving on to what kind of people they are. They are the ones who are taboo breakers. So if there's something, see what actually these people want, what I have seen, it's more of a very reforming energy. So if there's something which is going on since years and years, they would fight to go ahead and change it. What I came across in all the padas of Ardha Nakshatra people, there's something which has been done for a social cause, for the society. Yeah, the key factor could be different. It could be helping in society, helping on a political level, helping financially, but there was always a social circle which was coming in the picture. Now talking about the different padas of Ardha Nakshatra, we've got the first pada, which is governed by Jupiter, and here it is a Sagittarius Navmanch. So you'll get Jupiter ruling this Pada 1, in which you will get a highly knowledgeable intellectual people with very pleasant faces, good communication skills, worshippers of God. They have a lot of faith in God. Too much of social networking, a lot of social networking, in which they're spreading morality. And however, what actually happens, the way they do things, it comes across at times in a very destructive way. So there could be clashes, and there could be mixed results when they try to do such, like they may go ahead and try to change a belief system which is for a very longer time. It could be the same spiritual teachings, but with a very different face to it, with a very different approach to it. That is the speciality of Ardha Nakshatra. It's like you want to do this specific thing, but it is not the way all the other people would do, society would do it. It would be a very reformed and a different way. So they would not follow a specific kind of pattern. Now also, at because of this, at times this stirs a lot of trouble in the religious belief system and ideas. So because here Jupiter, you have the energy of Rahu, you have the energy of Jupiter as well. So what Rahu does, it goes ahead and magnifies everything to such an extent that at times it explodes. So yes, you need to be careful with what you talk and how exactly you express yourself, whether it's a one-to-one conversation, or else whether it's on social media, or else it's like you might be wanting to say something and you'll end up saying something else. Moving to Pada 2, it falls in the Capricorn Navmash, and Saturn is going to govern here. So you would see somebody who is a very good speaker. Now, someone who's very slow, so he knows what to do, but he says, okay, I'll do it slow. Why? Because Saturn moves things very slow. When Saturn goes very slow, what exactly happens? It takes some time. So maybe you finish something earlier, and a person with a Pada 2 Ardha Nakshatra, Moon Pada 2, or any of the other planets in this nakshatra, that person would finish the same thing in quite some time. Now when we are talking about again, they have the same thing of socializing and being public speakers. They can speak very well. Still, what they could do, they could stir up fights and arguments. This is something which is very 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 common for you could say Ardha Nakshatra people, no matter which pada. But this is seeing common. Why are you seeing the Rudra energy over here? The fierce Rudra energy. It is not the calming energy, it would be the fierce Rudra energy. Besides it, when we're talking about Pada 3, here it is Sagittarius, and here it is Saturn again is a lot of this Pada. So we've got Pada 2 and Pada 3 ruled by Saturn. The first Pada was Capricorn Navmansh, and this is the Aquarius Navmansh. Again, a lot of social work seen for social reform. So very help people, they could be very helpful people in terms of physical help, emotional help. So there's physical help, emotional help, and even financial help for the society. The only thing is that they would always want results from whatever they do. They would want results in this nakshatra. This nakshatra would not say that they would go ahead and just do something for the sake of doing it. They would want concrete results out of this. Another important thing is seen at times they go ahead and have goals which are unachievable. Like they would like to do something, however the energy is very difficult. So say if you have a Mars over here in this pada 3 of Ardha Nakshatra, you have the Saturn energy, you have the Rahu energy, and not to forget, we even is coming under the domain of Mercury. So all this energy which would clash and create big chaos. It would actually create the Rudra chaos. So because it's Ardha. Now when we are going to talk about the Pada 4, the Pada 4 is a beautiful Pada. Pisces Navmansh, Jupiter being the ruler over here. Now, I don't need to talk about the Pisces Navmansh month and Jupiter being the ruler. It's his own sign. Wealthy, very learned, a lot of wisdom, loved by all status, recognition in the masses, and interested in majorly promoting politics. Majorly promoting politics, so interested in politics. Then long lived, endowed with men, having a lot of children. So it's not a it's very it's a beautiful placement in terms of wealth, a lot of wealth accumulated, a lot of knowledge also being Pisces. So you would see that Jupiter does well here, Ketu does well here, Mercury Venus would do well over here, because it's a friendly sign. Now most of the times in this specific pada, again, if a malefic planet comes, it would create some kinds of issues. I'll be doing a series as I complete the Navmansh, sorry, the Nakshatra series. Once I come, I'm mixing up with words today. So, as I complete the Nakshatra series, I will go ahead and do a series in which I'll be giving you information about, a remedy for every nakshatra. Secondly, the tree or the plant associated with every nakshatra and how you could utilize it. Apart from that, I would also tell you some important key factors of that nakshatra which would help you out. For now, this was all I had to say about Ardha Nakshatra, and do keep watching and like the video and share the video. Thank you so much.